The 7-year wait is over. 99% of Americans will be able to see either a partial or a total eclipse today, April 8. Michael Snyder reports, "We have been waiting for this for a very long time. On Monday, the 7-year wait will be over and the Great American Eclipse of 2024 will finally be here. Personally, I have been writing articles about the Great American Eclipse of 2024 for more than 7 years. And I have been discussing it in my book since 1921. The most ominous sign in the entire history of the United States is about to pass over our heads, and even though so many of us have been making so much noise about it for so many years, most of the population does not seem alarmed at all. In fact, for much of the population, the Great American Eclipse of 2024 will be just another opportunity to party. Because so many Americans live within or very close to the path of totality, it is being projected that this will be the most viewed total solar eclipse in the U.S. that the U.S. has ever experienced. The total eclipse will first appear along Mexico's Pacific coast at around 11:07 a.m. PDT, then travel across the swath of the U.S. from Texas to Maine and into Canada. About 31.6 million people live in the path of totality, the area where the moon will fully block out the sun, according to NASA. The path will range between 108 and 122 miles wide. An additional 150 million people live within 200 miles of the path of totality. There are more than 19,000 cities, towns, and villages in the U.S., and the very first one the path of totality will hit will be Eagle Pass, Texas. The eclipse will begin in the U.S. on the afternoon of April 8. It will first be visible as a partial eclipse beginning at 12:06 p.m. CDT near Eagle Pass, Texas, before progressing to totality at about 1:27 p.m. CDT and progressing along its path to the northeast over the next few hours. According to NASA, the path of totality for the Great American Eclipse of 2024 will actually be substantially wider compared to the path of totality for the Great American Eclipse of 2017. The path of totality, where viewers can see the moon totally block the sun, revealing the star's outer atmosphere called the corona, is much wider during the upcoming total solar eclipse than it was during the eclipse in 2017. As the moon orbits Earth, its distance from our planet varies. During the 2017 total solar eclipse, the moon was a little bit farther away from Earth than it will be during the upcoming total eclipse, solar eclipse, causing the path of that eclipse to be a little skinnier. In 2017, the path ranged from about 62 to 71 miles wide. During the April eclipse, the path over North America will range between 108 and 122 miles wide, meaning at any given moment this eclipse covers more ground. The 2024 eclipse path will also pass over more cities and densely populated areas than the 2017 path did. It will make it easier for more people to see totality. An estimated 31.6 million people live in the path of totality this year, compared to 12 million in 2017. An additional 150 million people live within 200 miles of the path of totality. If you're not able to make it to the path of totality on Monday, there is a very good chance you will still be able to experience at least a partial eclipse, as long as clouds do not completely obscure your view. NASA is telling us that literally 99% of the people that live in the United States will be able to see at least a partial eclipse. You don't need to live within the path of totality to see the eclipse. In April, 99% of people who reside in the United States will be able to see the partial or total eclipse from where they live. Every contiguous U.S. state plus parts of Alaska and Hawaii will experience at least a partial solar eclipse. This really is an eclipse for the entire country. Even on the west coast, approximately half of the sun will be blocked out by our moon. The moon will block a significant portion of the sun and create a partial solar eclipse outside the path of totality. The closer an area is to the path of totality, the larger the portion of the sun and its solar radiation, sunlight and energy will be obscured by the moon. At least 50% of the sun will be blocked during the eclipse as far as Anaheim, as far west as Anaheim, California, and as far east as Orlando, Florida. Only around 20% of the sun will be blocked in the Pacific Northwest. I'm glad that this eclipse will be able to be seen all over America because I truly believe that it is a sign and warning for all America. More than 7 years ago, I started writing articles about the giant X over America that would be created by the paths of the Great American Eclipse of 2017. And here we see the map of it, as you can see, and the Great American Eclipse of 2024. On Monday, this giant X will finally be completed. Needless to say, marking a giant X over something is not normally considered to be a positive thing. The following is an excerpt from a book that I wrote in 2021. If you were to mark a giant X across something, what would that mean? Obviously, it's normally not a very good sign. If I have a list of things that I'm considering, I may use an X to eliminate options that are no longer viable. Or if I have a list of things that I'm supposed to do, I will often mark an X across an item that indicates that it is finished or completed. An X can mark the spot on a treasure hunt, but it can also be a warning sign of danger. According to a dictionary.com, using a big X on the internet generally communicates warnings, errors, and undesirability. And in the sports world, it often is used to denote a strike in baseball, a missed scoring attempted generally, or a lost match. And as you can see from all of these examples, an X tends to signify some sort of a final outcome. As I pointed out in that book and in my latest book entitled Chaos, the heart of that giant X falls directly in the New Madrid fault zone. Anyone with any sense at all should be alarmed that a giant X is about to be completed over the fault zone that once produced the most powerful earthquakes in the entire history of the continental United States. But the vast majority of the population is not even talking about this. Of course, I do not expect an apocalyptic earthquake to happen on the New Madrid fault right now. It is not time for that yet, but I do believe that the eclipse is a sign, a warning, and a threshold. There is one last thing that I would like to share in this article. At some point during the next several months, an absolutely massive explosion will literally take place, will make it appear as though a new star has appeared in the sky. Sometime between now and September, a massive explosion 3,000 light years from our Earth will flare up in the night sky, giving amateur astronomers a once-in-a-lifetime chance to witness this space oddity. The binary star system in the constellation Corona Borealis, Northern Crown, which it means, is normally too dim to see with the naked eye. But every 80 years or so, exchanges between its two stars, which are locked in a deadly embrace, spark a runaway nuclear explosion. The light from the blast travels through the cosmos and makes it appear as if a new star as bright as the North Star, according to NASA, has suddenly just popped up in our night sky for a few days. I find it interesting that it is going to happen at just about the same time that so many other things are taking place in the heavens. The Devil Comet is making an appearance for the first time in 71 years. The Great American Eclipse of 2024 will be passing over the United States today, Monday, and the 7 other planets in our solar system, along with the Sun and the Moon, are all forming a spectacular line in the sky. You would think that all of this would be enough to grab the attention of the general population. Sadly, the mainstream media seems absolutely determined to convince everyone that all this is completely meaningless, and that is extremely unfortunate. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Michael's new book entitled Chaos, available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon, and you can check out his new Substack newsletter right here. About the author, Michael Snyder, extremely controversial new book, Chaos, available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, the most important news, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter and share his articles on your own social media accounts. It's definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.